Rico was trying to talk to Denise Richards and send her a note. You got Jake Busey playing the violin, and it just added this element of weirdness to it. But then they had the party after they won the battle against the bugs, and they're all dancing to Jake Busey playing the violin. And then Rico wouldn't have been able to dance with Diz if he had not played the violin. And then that violin played, like, whose idea was to have that? To me, that little piece, that little extra was brilliant.
And I don't think it was in Heinlein's. I haven't. Do you remember that from the book?
I don't.
I don't. But that, yeah, it's a weird touch too. That's why I love it. Like a violin. It's right. Have you ever seen that? I've never seen, like, maybe an accordion, but I've never seen a violin just in the background of some cool dude who just blew up a bug playing it.
Yeah, and it's a juxtaposition in itself, like all this high testosterone people and then a dude playing a violin. I love it so much.
I think if they would have stuck with the original book too, with stuff like the bounce, where people can bounce up in the air and shoot the bugs from the top, and they had rocket launchers and they had more powerful guns, and then they had the power armor, I think they would have lost a little something on this. Like, I think that adds more to Verhoeven. I mean, at the end they win, they get the brain bug and they're torturing it at the end, but then they just go, all right, we're going to do more. We're going to kill more. We're not even done yet. We'll see you later. The movie's over. So you have no, but I liked, like you said, the visceral nature of it, the being attacked, the shooting 7,000 bullets into one of those bugs.
Well, I got to tell you, the closing line of the movie, to your point, is they'll keep fighting and they'll win.
Yeah.
That was the closing line. They're just going to keep fighting in this militaristic society.
And I love it too. I'm here. I want to see what you think about this, where like people have drawn comparisons to World War II when they dropped all the people off on Omaha Beach and the close clusters of people. And a lot of people have said that the war tactics were terrible in this because Verhoeven didn't want slick ships. He wanted gigantic lumbering ships that when the bugs shot their butt bombs out of them, they got hit. So when because these ships had they didn't really have a reason to be so separated. They could have really lined up in different areas and dropped those little ships off to go fly down to Earth. So they stayed together. I mean, it makes it more exciting. But it seems like they have infinite supplies of people signing up because you have to become a soldier to become a citizen, to have kids or have money or to have this or that or the other. And so you have all these ships. They just send people down to Earth with just they have nukes, man. They have interstellar travel. They can blow up asteroids in the air. Asteroids are huge, and it's a really interesting thing. Or maybe they're just drawing parallels to the 80s when you had the Russians going into Afghanistan in the caves, and so they had the better technology, but it was such a close, tight war. I don't know, but what do you think about the tactics in this? We're not tacticians, but
the tactics were god awful. I mean, I think like the flying in close formation, there were parts where all the infantrymen were standing in a circle, all firing toward the middle at the bugs, not worried about any crossfire whatsoever.
Yeah.
You had people, you were walking and you had people like firing over the heads of other people.
Yeah.
I'm like, military audiences are very fickle, I think, and when it comes to movies, because you can't divorce the fiction from that's not how they would normally do it. But the way that they did that was awful. The fact that you just use bullets, not lasers, is unbelievable. But I think that, for one, just having machine guns rather than some kind of insecticide or something for these bugs was just like if you've ever fired a machine gun, it's exhilarating. When you just let loose on a gun, it is one of the most exhilarating things you could ever feel in your life. The sound, the way you look with this gun shaking. And I think he was going for that testosterone, and that anger of like firing at these bugs with your weapon. It's that kind of, it makes it more visceral than if you had a laser from like 4 miles away. So I think that's why he did it that way.
Do you think it's also about just sending troops in? Like, we don't really care. We're just going to keep sending them in. Do you think that was a little bit or no?
Yeah, I think they lost sight of humanity a little bit. We're just going to send them in. They're going to die, and then even their values were about dying. Like, I think they made it the point, and this was in the book too, where the one guy got picked up by the bug, and instead of shooting at the bug, they killed the guy.
Yeah.
They're like, I expected that was their perverted value system where like we're going to kill each other before the enemy can kill us. So it was this really strange way of thinking. But I also think that the tactics were just so far in the back of his mind, he wasn't worried about them. Because to him, I think in the book too, the bugs were just some kind of malevolent force out there. It could have been bugs, it could have been aliens, it could have been whatever type of enemy out there, and it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, they had no business flying that close to each other with those gigantic ships. I mean, that was one of the most idiotic things I've ever seen.
But also, like, you and I wrestled in high school. Like, we have, I used to box. You can't show the real technical wrestling. It's boring, like some of these wrestling matches. So you gotta Beverly Hillbillies it up. You gotta have some crazy stuff, or I don't know. You just gotta. He understood that. You know what's interesting? This is a complete aside, but I was watching a movie the other day where, okay, so I love the John Wick films, and I love the new Charlize Theron where she's an immortal, the Old Guard. But there's these moments where they're just so tactical. And they're switching guns, and they're swapping around, and they're moving. And it looks great, it's a ballet. But I do sometimes miss the chaos of the raid, or The Night Comes for Us. I like seeing this tactician, I like that, but there's also something in me that just is liking the random violence of Die Hard. And I don't know, so I guess if you're going full tactics, and these people wouldn't just run at each other like that, but you also have the full tactics, and who knows, does that take it out of it? Does that not make it as visceral?
That's a good point. Either you're all in or all out. And Starship Trooper they weren't even worried about tactics. I mean, exactly. I think that's a smart move because people are going to see, unless you go to like the top level, like a American Sniper, or one of those, what was the one with Mark Wahlberg in Afghanistan?
Shooter. Or the True Story, right? Lone Survivor.
Yeah, Lone Survivor, where they went to this boot camp with military professionals for several weeks to get the movements down. Unless you're going to go all in on the tactics, having that middle area is just kind of meh. It's because you're not really good at anything, so you might as well make it gaudy.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm not hating on Wick. I love what Keanu Reeves can do on set. I mean, what Keanu Reeves does in that movie is unbelievable with Chad Stahelski and everything. But
He's so coordinated and strong. I mean, it takes a lot of physical ability to do what he does. It is definitely impressive.
But my favorite parts of those movies are on the third one when he fights the two villains from Raid 1 and 2. And then he goes and fights Dacascos from Only the Strong at the end of 3.
Mm-hmm. I love the Strong?
Yeah,
that's great.
That's Dacascos. Yeah, I love...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love those parts. The kind of improv-esque. No, it's not improv. They're highly choreographed and they're great fighters, but it's more of a wild card for me and how those fights will progress rather than move left, right, tactics. Like, I'm not hating on that. I did love that Charlize Theron new movie. I think it's great. And the director, she actually did Love and Basketball. I love that movie. And so I'm very happy that she just directed a major tentpole action movie. But I like the chaotic of it. Those are my favorite action scenes, the kind of chaos that gets created. So I think it's good that they didn't just go overly tactician. Like, we used exact tactics during this attack, during this. Like, that's not, I don't know, it's good, and if you pull it off, it's beautiful, but in this movie, man, these bugs wiped these people out. I mean, it was...
100,000 died. Remember the Federal News Network? 100,000. And then they had the names scrolling. And then she had to do the search function to find Rico on the list of people who died. But the scale of that military disaster was probably one of the worst in history. And they remember in the movie they actually fired the admiral?
Yeah.
They fired him. They actually showed him being fired on the Federal Network for such an epic, horribly planned attack where they had no idea about the capabilities of the enemy. They just went in full on, I'm going to kill.
Mm-hmm. At night.
They landed at night?
Yeah, remember
you're right. Yeah.
I mean, and they had a couple nukes blow things up, but for the most part, that was, whew, that guy's going to get blown up. I don't know. And then the lady who came in kind of had the same rhetoric about it. But no, I love it. It's cool. Hey, so how about this? Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk more Starship Troopers. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And Eric, I have a surprise for you. You ready for this?
Yes.
All right, I'm not laughing on purpose. I'm just laughing because I'm dropping this on you. Last time you did the Warrior episode with us, I dropped the Frank Grillo one on you, and I caught you off guard. So I'm going to catch you off guard with this one. We're going to do the Denise Richards draft. But I'm telling you, we're going to pitch 5 movies each. We're going to pick 5 movies each, and there is plenty here to build a solid team. So
pulling it up right now on IMDb.
Since I dropped it on you, I will let you have the first pick.
Thank you. Well, my first pick would definitely be Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Oh, no, that was my first pick. Cause
I sniped you.
That movie's really good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's underrated.
No, it's like legit underrated. But like, you know what I think is there are actors who you watch maybe Jamie Kennedy in some movies, or you'll watch David Arquette in some movies. I think there are films that perfectly cast them. And like, I think Dewey finds a nice line of sweet but smart and all this kind of stuff. And then you have Jamie Kennedy in the first Scream, or Jamie Kennedy in Bowfinger. But then you have in other movies where it's just not corralled well. But I think Denise Richards, the director, she was perfect in that movie. She was like perfectly cast in that.
Hey, you're telling me she's my top pick.
Yeah,
Drop Dead Gorgeous. I got you.
All right, I'll do Starship Troopers. Got to do it. All right, Starship Troopers.
Carmen Ibanez.
Yeah.
You know they pronounced her last name wrong the whole movie? They called it like Ibanez, I think, a couple times.
Well, 400 years have gone by. Maybe they westernized it more.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. I was like, why are they calling her Ibanez? It was driving me crazy.
All right, what are you going to do?
All right, well, I'm going to go Wild Things. Probably her best known movie. At the risk of sounding a little gross, but she was dynamite, a perfect casting, and memorable in Wild Things.
I mean, I saw that when I was 16 in the theaters. I remember that. I don't know why. There's a scene there where Matt Damon or Dylan, when he's with both of them, and he just goes, "Oh yeah." I'm like, I don't think that was scripted. All right, so I'm gonna say Undercover Brother. That movie's funny. I like that. I'm gonna take Yeah, sure. I'm gonna take Undercover Brother. Why not? That's my second pick.
So I didn't know this, and I feel a little bad for picking it, but I didn't realize she was in Love Actually. I had no idea that she was in there until I just pulled up IMDb right now. So I'm going to go with the classic Love Actually.
Oh, I am done. Yeah, you've won this thing easily.
Oh, yeah.
I'm toast. All right, so
your history, your Elvis.
I'm Elvis. All right, let's see. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do Tammy and the T-Rex. I own it. I've done a podcast episode on it. It's about where she's dating Paul Walker. He dies, and they put his brain into an animatronic T-Rex. And at the end, they're looking for a body for him, and she pours whiskey on his head to get him drunk. It's a weird movie, Eric.
Okay. I'll add it to my list. But you said Paul Walker, so I might be hooked. I love that guy. Scary Movie 3, because at 40 years old, I still find that humor funny.
There's a scene
like not another teen movie. I think it's hilarious. His humor still gets me even in my middle ages.
Watching Charlie Sheen run through a cornfield with short corn that hits him right in the balls. I mean, that's you can't beat it.
He took a lot of shots to a sensitive area in that movie. Yeah, Isn't that where they met? Isn't that where Denise Richards met Charlie Sheen and they got married?
I'm not sure. Maybe they knew each other and that's why they did it. He brought her in. I'm not sure. It's a good question.
Good point.
All right, no one's going to know this movie, but I like it because John Leguizamo finally got to lead a movie, and I've been a huge John Leguizamo fan forever. So I'm going to take Empire, where he plays a gangster, and then he shoots her and I just remember he shoots them both.
Leguizamo. Damn it, Leguizamo! Why'd you have to do that?
He gets in over his head. So you have Drop That Gorgeous, Wild Things, Love Actually, Scary Movie 3, and you have to pick one more. There's plenty in here.
But the only one I recognize has to be Undercover Brother.
Wait, I picked that one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I don't know any of these other movies that she's been in.
Loaded Weapon 1?
She was in Loaded Weapon 1?
Yeah, with Emilio and Sam Jackson.
She was in 2 parody movies?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
You know what? I'm doing this, man. I'm doing The World Is Not Enough.
I was avoiding that one. I was like, I'm not going to be the one that picks The World Is Not Enough.
Here's the thing, though. All right, so a lot of people hate on her for that movie, but if you're in her role, you're taking that film, and you're they gave her that dialogue. They gave her that role. So I don't see that as her fault, if that makes sense. Yeah, she took the role, but I don't know. You wouldn't say no to that. So I'm going to take that.
Fair point.
I'm doing Starship Troopers, Undercover Brother, Tammy the T-Rex, Empire, The World's Not Enough. You have Drop Dead Gorgeous, Wild Things, Love Actually. You're going to kill me. You're going to do, this is a 90-10 right here.